welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, November 2nd, 2018. I'm Yvette Bowens with the details. Climate change interventions that are not profitable are useless to farmers. So said technical specialist for the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, IICA, Michael Dalton, as he spoke on the significance of a pilot project being conducted here promoting the adaptation of climate-smart agriculture practices among small producers. Under the project, 20 core and satellite farmers are being trained in vegetation production, climate change and farming systems, and the management of small-scale irrigation systems and agribusiness development. Speaking from a participating farm in Calder, Dalton explained that the project is being executed at 5 demonstration sites, namely Sanssouci, Calder, Kingston, Pembroke and Rose Hall. Highlighting the water harvesting aspect of the project, the IICA technical specialist said farmers are being taught to properly harvest rainwater in the event of small-scale agricultural droughts.
The farmer is harvesting water from his house. He has approximately 3,000 gallons of water, which he's harvesting from his house roof for use in the plot in this demonstration. It's a small demonstration system, and the capacity here at the plot is small. The intention here, in the first instance, is to address water needs of the plant in response to not meteorological droughts per se, but agricultural droughts, meaning in situations where there are days and maybe a couple of weeks without water, without rainwater, and the farmer needs to have his plants irrigated, so to ensure that the plants grow properly and that they produce properly. So we are really setting up systems in response to small-scale agricultural droughts.
He said it is hoped that farmers would be able to see the benefits of the water harvesting system and encourage its use on more farmlands across the country.
We're hoping that at the end of the day, the farmers themselves would be able to maintain these irrigation systems and to have other farmers visiting the plots and adopt some of the practices that they're seeing here. And this is why we are calling them models, because we are hoping that this will be a promotion of climate change and climate change adaptation practices that other farmers can readily adopt on their farms. At Randy Lewis here, you can see that we are basically in the traditional type of field preparation where we are using a ridge and furrow system. This is a system that the farmers that have grown accustomed to over the years and which has worked to our benefit to conserve the soil. We are mixing this with other approaches in other plots to include bench terrace use, the use of organic matter as much as possible to encourage production. And while we are doing that, we are also trying to limit our use of inorganics, both in terms of fertilizer use and in terms of pesticide use. So our approach is one of integrated pest management on the fields. This is a partnership, and a partnership that we are hoping to grow.
Dalton said the project will not only assist farmers in mitigating climate change, but also make their enterprise profitable.
Here is to build the resilience of the farmers through the introduction of various adaptation measures for climate change. I want to also point out that a key element of our program is in terms of the profitability of the enterprises that the farmers run. So all our interventions here are with crops and with cultivars of crops that are highly marketable, and the farmers themselves, before we started the process of engaging in production, already know where they are marketing the commodities. Importantly also, we are keeping records of all our interventions on the plots, so that at the end of the day, as we sell the produce from the plot, we would be able to report on the sales and on the profitability of the various enterprises. Because this is an important part also of resilience building. You can have all the climate change interventions in the world. If it is not profitable, it is useless to the farmers. So we want to emphasize this as well as the adaptation measures we have done here.
The construction of roads by the Building Roads and General Services Authority, BRAXA, will be done more speedily with the receipt of 22 light drilling crushers. These crushers were donated to Braxa today by the Taiwan central government and was presented by Ambassador Calvin Ho.
For smaller construction, probably this kind of demolition, tools is very useful for you, because we have the similar, we are also a mountainous island country, so we know it's very useful. This project is one thing quite special, because for the previous project, most of them actually, it's we gather the resources from the central government or work together with NGO from Taiwan. But this project we actually work is between our local governments and central government work together and to review how we can work with our diplomatic ally. Then we know this kind of machine tools should be helpful.
Receiving the donation on behalf of Braxa was its Chief Executive Officer Colin Francis. Francis noted that Braxa has only 2 crushers, which made it difficult for works to be carried out, especially in the Grenadines. He said that every constituency will now have one.
One can only imagine how we function with just 2 Hilti or demolition hammers. Now, would have received 22 from the government and people of Taiwan, and we are grateful. Now we can afford to have these tools distributed to the different constituencies, and we can get more done in a shorter time span.
Also present at the handing over ceremony was Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Transport and Works, Hudson Ned. Ned thanked the Taiwan government and explained that it was initiated by one of the Taiwan officials, Nicole Su, before she departed for Taiwan. Ned said that such equipment are needed to carry out works effectively and efficiently.
These items would certainly assist to improve with the improvement of their efficiency. Because now they do not have to wait for the technicians in Oya to complete demolishing a wall or a section of a building, then ship the item over to Chateaubelair, which could take a day or 2. So now they can deploy the same type of worker in different locations.
The Ministry of Tourism has appointed Laron James as its Junior Minister of Tourism for 2018-2019. James won this year's Lions Club public speaking competition last month to represent St. Vincent and the Grenadines at the Caribbean Tourism Organization, the CTO's Youth Congress in the Bahamas. James, a student of the St. Vincent Grammar School, attended his first news conference as Junior Tourism Minister earlier this week at the Ministry of Tourism's conference room. James related his experience at the CTO's Youth Congress, which was also attended by other junior ministers of tourism and commissioners from across the region.
On the night of the briefing, I had the privilege of meeting my fellow junior ministers and commissioners, and it was a very friendly environment, and we were able to interact and exchange information about our various countries. So I was able to speak a little bit about St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I experienced many things. I even got to meet and play with dolphins for the first time, and I've gained many things from this experience.
Speaking on Tourism Month, James highlighted the many tourist attractions one can visit or experience during this month.
If sea, sun, and sand are the main ingredients in your favored cocktail of wellness and rejuvenation, well, we will serve that too. We call it a digital detox, where you literally unplug, banishing yourself from devices like the cell phone, computer, and television, to agree with singer Belinda Carlisle that heaven is a place on earth. Experience life on the private island resorts of Young Island, Palm Island, and Petite St. Vincent, with just a few cottages, white sand beaches lined with coconut trees, hammocks in the breeze, calm turquoise seas, visits to the spa at leisure, the frolic of the breeze in the trees, swimming and snorkeling with our friendly critters. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Mother Nature is waiting for you. She is waiting to bathe you in hot springs and massage you under waterfalls. She is waiting to fill your lungs with rainforest breath and to nourish you with the fruits of her rich volcanic soil.
The Ministry of Tourism said they will be calling on James to perform official duties from time to time for Tourism Month. The University of the West Indies Open Campus here is continuing its efforts to provide higher educational opportunities to persons who may not be able to attend the full-fledged campuses. Head of the Open Campus here, Deborah Dalrymple, told SVG-TV News that while the University of the West Indies is celebrating a milestone of 70 years as an educational institution, the local Open Campus can also be proud of its decade of existence. Dalrymple said a new building is currently under construction at the local site of the Open Campus, which will allow them to expand the number and type of programs being offered.
And the idea behind that is that we're highlighting a genre of music or culture. It started off being music, but now we've moved into cultural activities, whether it's poetry, dance, skits, that really highlight each a decade of the 70 years. So from 1948 to 58, we'll have a particular activity. From 58 to 60, all the way up to 2018. They're very exciting performances. We are going to have Skakes and Bomani and, you know, numbers of them, and the poets, dancers, and we're hoping that the alumni would come out and really support this, and the general public, of course. I think for many people it would be a very delightful evening just to watch the cultural development over the 70 years. So that's going to be our flagship event. So if you don't mind me putting a little plug for it now so that people would be interested.
She said the Open Campus also provides unique services to help working adults achieve their educational goals.
So the space is going to be much more functional, and it's also going to be a lot more student friendly. We're expanding our library. We're setting up a student lounge, a place where if you're studying and you have to have your kids stay, we have a space for that as well, because we realize that we are catering for adults for the most part who have their own responsibilities and their own you know, their tasks as adults, and we're trying to make it as student friendly as possible. So we're looking forward to that. We hope by the middle of next year that it will be completed and that we can move in and offer much better service to the community.
It was recently announced that the University of the West Indies is looking into the construction of a landed campus in Antigua and to make community colleges in the OECS associated with the university. According to Dalrymple, many colleges in the region are looking at how best they can make this idea work.
And another feature is that we're working towards the bringing under the University of the West Indies ambit the community colleges. So it'll be a community college, or like a college of the University of the West Indies. Again, not to say that we'll be usurping each other's role, but more that that will be kind of certain courses would be accredited by the university and so on. Whereas I'm sure the college, in our case, our community college would have certain areas that, of course, that they would hold their own control. But for the most part, the colleges throughout the region are looking towards how we can best merge the colleges with the university. So a lot of development is going on. Our vice chancellor is looking towards making the university a little bit more self-sufficient, getting into some entrepreneurship and other some ventures for raising money, so that we are a little bit more independent than we are right now.
Persons in the music industry here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines will be afforded the opportunity to learn more on how they can earn a living through music once they sign on to the copyrights with the Eastern Caribbean Collective Organization for Music Rights, ECHO. ECHO has a team from St. Lucia on a 3-day visit here as they seek to engage bands, musicians and other artists in the country on copyrights. Newly appointed Chief Executive Officer of ECHO, Davis Joseph, who is on his first official visit, said they are seeking to raise further awareness on music copyrights and intellectual property.
We know for sure that there has to be more vibrant communication, because the fact that they are in St. Vincent and we are here, that distance does not have to make us feel apart. We have to operate as one organization. Another part of it is to also reach out to the music users and the membership. They have to feel that they are part of an organization that is getting them results. So that means we would have to maintain our efficiency of operations, the effectiveness with which we do things. But we realize that this is something we cannot do alone. So it was very exciting to find out that we have very interested partners.
ECHO has undergone restructuring over the last year, and with the appointment of a new executive, persons in the music industry of the Eastern Caribbean states stand to benefit. Vice Chair of ECHO, Christine Charlemagne, said that not many musicians are complying with the music copyright, hence they cannot profit.
First, to get our music practitioners to better understand the importance of copyright and to understand it a bit better, because we do recognize that sometimes when you think of copyright, it becomes this huge unknown and people sometimes feel intimidated. So part of our objective would be to break it down simpler so that all practitioners can understand better how they would be able to make a living from the various streams of income related to the music industry, specifically as it relates to royalties from licensed performance of their music.
ECHO has a meeting with its members in SVG tomorrow at the Methodist Church Hall from 10 a.m. They have 60 members in SVG, and other interested groups are encouraged to attend the meeting. Similar meetings are planned for St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica and Grenada. A free scoliosis clinic under the World Pediatric Project, the WPP, will be conducted here this Sunday. The scoliosis mission to St. Vincent will be led by Dr. Shad Aarons, orthopedic surgeon. It will be his fourth trip with a scoliosis team under the World Pediatric Project, which is having its second mission here for this year. The team, which also includes a pediatric anesthesiologist, a physical therapist, and a WPP medical volunteers, is expected to see between 30 to 40 patients and perform 9 surgeries. Sunday's free scoliosis clinic will be held at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, beginning at 8 a.m. for children and young people up to the age of 21 years. Patients who will receive attention during this scoliosis mission will come from Barbados, Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and SVG. On their last scoliosis mission, the WPP team saw 56 children in clinic, 30 of whom were from the region, and performed 9 surgeries. All Saints and All Souls Day is a time of prayer and remembrance for our deceased loved ones and not a time for entertainment. So said Monsignor Michael Stewart, Vicar General of the Kingston Diocese of the Catholic Church, as he spoke with SVG-TV News on the significance of All Souls Day, which Catholics commemorate on November 2nd yearly. He said today Catholics remember those who have departed but are not in the presence of God for all eternity. Monsignor Stewart said All Souls Day gives persons an opportunity to pray for the souls of their departed loved ones so that they can be purified.
For us Catholics, we would start with having Mass at the church. So there will be a Mass here this evening at 5. And so we believe that this is our central focus of worship. The Mass, we say, is the source and summit of our Christian belief and practice. So it's our highest form of worship. After this, we make the journey to the cemetery, where we bless the graves, and prayers are offered up at the grave or the graveside for those who are interred there and those whom we want to remember, whether they are close or they were close to us or not, but they are still members of all of them, that is, members of the body of Christ. The doctrine of the body of Christ is very strong.
The senior Catholic minister said entertainment activities taking place at the cemeteries at this time erodes the true meaning of the day.
Of an entertainment factor has invaded what used to be a solemn thing. In fact, it is not just a question of things happening at the cemetery. You know, I think had a calypso several years ago which talked about Blocko in the cemetery. But we're using the cemetery now as a place of entertainment and commerce. So if you go to, I can't say all cemeteries, or many cemeteries tonight, you know, people would not only be lighting candles, but people would you know, be having some form of entertainment. That for me takes away the significance of the moment, where it's a moment of prayer, it's a moment of remembering our mortality.
He said today should also give persons the opportunity to reflect on their own mortality.
All of us, whether people who go to church or don't go to church, read the scriptures, don't read the scriptures, it's important for us to keep before us those four last things that I mentioned earlier: death, judgment, heaven and hell. There's a way in which when we think of these things at the end, they can sober us up. I'm not here forever. I'm given this one life, but I'm given to live it well. And I also want that when I depart this life, not only that I share eternity with God, but that my life would have its influence on the lives of others, inspiring them to be good citizens, to be good Christians, to be saints.
In No, the Tsunami Warning Signs video will be released here on Monday, 5th November 2018 by the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, to commemorate World Tsunami Awareness Day. A news release issued today stated that the video was produced locally by NEMO in collaboration with a number of popular local soca artists through funding from the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, SEDEMA, under the Country Directed Fund. Also on Monday, NEMO will launch an exhibition at the car park next to the Postal Corporation building in Kingston from 8 a.m. NEMO says the main purpose of this exhibition is to heighten awareness on tsunamis and other geological hazards such as landslides, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. The UN General Assembly designated the 5th of November as the annual day for spotlighting tsunami risk. This worldwide event is supported by the government of Japan and is used as an opportunity to showcase good practices related to tsunamis. NEMO is currently involved in a Tsunami Smart Schools and Communities project in collaboration with the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, the Ministry of Education and the Seismic Research Center, with funding from the European Union through SEDEMA's Country Directed Fund. Through this project, NEMO is working with 6 schools: the Kingston Anglican School, Clare Valley Government School, the Connery Primary School, Union Island Secondary School, Mary Hutchinson Primary School, and Stephanie Brown Government School to develop tsunami evacuation plans. The Tsunami Smart Schools and Opportunities project is expected to come to an end in December with the placement of tsunami signs in the beneficiary communities.